Hold up. Are you seeing what I'm seeing right now? We're in August 2025. Free agency has been open for months, and I'm looking at this list of available players, and I genuinely think I'm losing my mind. We've got former MVPs still sitting at home. We've got players who were putting up all-star numbers just last season, checking their phones, wondering why nobody's calling. I'm talking about proven champions, elite shooters, and absolute game changers who are somehow, and I cannot stress this enough, somehow still on the market like they're some kind of afterthought. This is absolutely insane to me. In a league where every single roster spot matters, where one injury can derail your entire season, where championship windows are razor thin, how are there still impact players just sitting there waiting for someone, anyone, to recognize what's right in front of them? And that's exactly what we're breaking down today. I'm about to show you 5 players, and I'm naming names, people, 5 legitimate difference makers who should have been signed weeks ago, but are somehow still available for whatever team is smart enough to pick up the phone. But before we expose this absolute madness, I need to call out the elephant in the room. Over 60% of you watching this video right now haven't subscribed to the channel yet. If you want more WNBA content that actually tells you the truth about what's happening in this league, smash that subscribe button right now. It takes 2 seconds, and it helps us keep bringing you the content nobody else is talking about. All right, let's get into this, because what I'm about to show you is going to blow your mind. Player first is Breanna Stewart, the former MVP nobody wants to pay. I'm not even going to build suspense here because this is too ridiculous. Breanna Stewart is still unsigned, and I'm starting to question if every GM in this league has completely lost their minds. We're talking about a player who won MVP in 2023, who averaged 23 points and 9.5 rebounds just 2 seasons ago, who's been to multiple finals, who's won championships at every level she's ever played at. And she's sitting at home right now because what exactly? Because she wants to be paid what she's worth. Stewart is 30 years old, still in her prime, and coming off a season where she proved she can still dominate at the highest level. She's a matchup nightmare at 6'4" who can stretch the floor, post up smaller defenders, and guard multiple positions. She's exactly the type of player that championship teams are built around, but apparently teams would rather overpay for potential than invest in proven production. Stewart on a 1-year deal would be the signing of the century for any contender, yet here we are talking about her like she's some kind of luxury rather than a necessity. This is player evaluation malpractice at its finest. Player second is Diana Taurasi, the legend being disrespected. Diana Taurasi is still available, and honestly, this might be the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen in professional sports. Are we really going to sit here and pretend that one of the greatest players in WNBA history, someone who's won 3 championships, someone who is still putting up efficient numbers last season at 42 years old, doesn't deserve a roster spot? Really? I get it, she's not 25 anymore. She's not going to give you 35 minutes a night, but clutch gene, playoff experience, the ability to hit impossible shots when it matters most? You can't teach that, and you can't replicate 20+ years of championship-level basketball IQ. Some team is going to sign Taurasi for the minimum, she's going to come off the bench and hit 3 straight threes in a playoff game to swing a series, and every GM who passed on her is going to look like they don't understand basketball. Mark my words on that one. Player third is Temi Fagbenle, the two-way star, being overlooked. Tammy Fagbenle is sitting there unsigned, and I'm convinced half the league doesn't even realize what they're missing. We're talking about a 6'4" forward who can legitimately guard positions 3 through 5, who shot 38% from 3 last season, who brings international experience and championship pedigree from overseas. She's exactly the type of versatile, switchable player that modern basketball is built around. Fagbenle averaged solid numbers across the board last season. She can score in the post, step out and hit the 3, and most importantly, she never hurts you with bad decisions. She's a professional who understands her role and maximizes every opportunity she gets. The fact that she's still available tells me teams are either not doing their homework or they're getting caught up in name recognition rather than actual production. Someone's going to get an absolute steal here. Player fourth is Ari McDonald, the young explosive guard. Here's where it gets really crazy. Ari McDonald is still on the market, and she's only 25 years old with all-star upside. McDonald was putting up impressive numbers when she got consistent minutes, averaging double figures and showing she can create her own shot and facilitate for others. She's got that explosive first step, she can get to the rim at will, and she's shown improvement in her outside shooting every single season. At 25, she's entering what should be the prime years of her career. She's proven she can contribute immediately, and with the right system around her, she could easily be a 6th Woman of the Year candidate or even push for a starting role. The fact that teams are passing on a young, proven guard who's still improving is mind-boggling to me. This is the type of signing that could look genius in 2 years when she's putting up 15 and 6 for someone. Player fifth is Erica Wheeler, the veteran floor general. Erica Wheeler being unsigned might be the one that bothers me the most because this is pure basketball malpractice. Wheeler has been one of the most reliable point guards in this league for years. She's been an all-star, she's proven she can run an offense, and she brings that veteran leadership that you absolutely need on championship teams. She's the type of player who makes everyone around her better. Last season, she was still productive when given the opportunity, shooting the ball well and rarely turning it over. She's not going to wow you athletically anymore, but basketball IQ, court vision, and clutch shot making don't age. Those skills are exactly what teams need in playoff situations. Some contender is going to sign Wheeler. She's going to be their steady hand off the bench, who never panics in big moments, and everyone's going to wonder why it took so long for someone to recognize the obvious value. Not signing all these players makes zero sense. Look, I understand that salary cap constraints are real, and I understand that teams want to get younger and more athletic, but we're talking about proven producers, championship-level players, and legitimate difference makers who are available for what would likely be minimum contracts. These aren't players asking for max deals or demanding starting roles. These are professionals who understand their value and are willing to contribute however a team needs them to. The fact that all 5 of them are still sitting there tells me that front offices are overthinking this to a ridiculous degree. Championship teams need veteran presence. They need players who've been there before, and they need professionals who can step up when it matters most. All 5 of these players bring exactly that, and whoever's smart enough to recognize it is going to get incredible value. The clock is ticking. Here's what's really frustrating about all of this. Training camps are going to start soon, and some of these players might end up overseas or just sitting out the season entirely because teams waited too long to make obvious moves. And you know what's going to happen? Some team is going to get desperate in February. When injuries hit, they're going to sign one of these players mid-season, and that player is going to come in and immediately make them better. Then everyone's going to act surprised like this value wasn't sitting right there in front of them for months. I've seen this movie before. Teams convince themselves they're being smart by waiting, by being cautious, by not rushing into signings. But sometimes the best move is the obvious move. And right now there are 5 obvious moves just sitting there waiting to be made. Here are my predictions. All right, I'm going to go out on a limb here and make some predictions about how this all plays out. First, Breanna Stewart gets signed within the next 2 weeks. Some contender is going to realize they can get a former MVP for a fraction of what she's worth, and they're going to pull the trigger. Taurasi is going to wait until the regular season starts, then sign with whoever needs veteran help the most. And she's going to immediately make whatever team that is better in crunch time. The other 3 are wild cards, but I think at least 2 of them end up on playoff teams before the season starts. The value is just too obvious to ignore. Runners, look, I could sit here all day and break down advanced stats and team needs and salary cap implications, but at the end of the day, this is about recognizing talent and understanding what wins basketball games. All 5 of these players have proven they can contribute to winning basketball. All 5 of them bring something valuable to the table, and all 5 of them are available for what amounts to basically nothing in terms of financial commitment. The teams that recognize this opportunity are going to look genius when these players are making clutch plays in the playoffs. The teams that don't are going to be kicking themselves wondering how they missed such obvious value sitting right in front of them. So let me know in the comments which of these signings would you make right now if you were a GM? What teams do you think are making the biggest mistake by not pursuing these players? And most importantly, do you think I'm crazy for being this fired up about what seems like obvious moves? Drop your predictions below about where you think these players end up, because I have a feeling some of you are going to nail it, and we can come back to this video in a few months and see who called it. Smash that like button if this video opened your eyes to how crazy this free agency period has been. Subscribe for more WNBA content that actually tells the truth about what's happening in this league, and make sure you hit that notification bell, because when one of these signings happens, I'm definitely making a follow-up video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one where we break down the teams that are about to look really smart or really stupid based on what they do with these opportunities. Until then, keep your eyes on that transaction wire, because I have a feeling things are about to get very interesting.